Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the first episode of the LLL podcast. If you're wondering what the L stand for, you have to stay till the end to find out. My name is Lauren Davis, and today I will be discussing Thomas Paine and his pamphlet, Common Sense. As it turns out, common sense isn't just a phrase or something people lack. So, who is Thomas Paine? Well, for starters, he's the man with the wig you see on the screen. To give a short biography, he was born in England, only moving to the colonies at 37 years old during the peak height of the rebellion. He was upset by the limitations England's social order placed on him, and thus wanted a new hierarchy. He also did not believe in any organized religion, although he did believe in God. His desire for opportunistic nation would become a motive for writing Common Sense. His view on religion, however, would lead to public disapproval. Thomas Paine had a few things in common with Benjamin Franklin. For instance, Paine was self-taught, curious, and intelligent. He also lived in Philadelphia, where he became a journalist. Perhaps the main difference between the two men was their private lives. Paine had difficulty maintaining his marriages. It is known that he was married twice. His first wife passed away, and he separated from his second wife 3 years into the marriage. He never did marry a third time. Franklin, on the other hand, had an illegitimate child that his wife accepted into the family. This suggests his wife took the news well, right? Despite the similarities, the two men are rarely mentioned in the same conversations. Okay, so here's the million-dollar question. What was Common Sense about? I'll give you 5 seconds to guess. If you said it was about having common sense, great utilization of context clues. If you said it was a persuasive piece meant to convince the colonists that separating from Britain was the right move, you are correct. Here's an analogy. I'm sure you've all known someone or have a friend who tells you something and you know, without a shadow of a doubt, what they should do. That moment when you can say, be so for real. Although the course of action seems obvious to you, the person needs a bit more persuasion. That is what common sense was to the colonists, a much-needed wake-up call. America could only prosper after gaining independence from Britain. His main strategy is to present arguments Americans make for reconciliation, then to weaken them with logic. For example, Paine writes, we may as well assert that because a child has died upon milk, that it is never to have meat, or that the first 20 years of our lives is to become a president for the next 20. Paine uses analogies to define the colonists' attitude towards Britain. The colonists believe that since their current setup is working, other options should be denied. They also believe the past should set the standard for the future. Since Britain has been the parent country of America since the establishment of the colonies, things should remain that way. Paine's use of analogies to present arguments for reconciliation is silly. After all, I'm sure most of us would welcome a change if it meant we could drink more than just milk. Speaking of the parent country, the text states, but Britain is the parent country, say some. Then the more shame upon her conduct. Even brutes do not devour their young. Parents are supposed to guide and nurture their children, yet all Britain has done is oppress and exploit America. Paine argues that Britain is not acting like a parent country should, so labeling it as such is wrong. Lastly, Paine states, ye that tell us of harmony and reconciliation, can ye restore to us the time that is past? Can ye give to prostitution its former innocence? Neither can we reconcile Britain and America. His argument is simple. The past cannot be changed. Therefore, reconciliation is not feasible. Britain has exploited the colonies on several occasions. Even if amends were made, the fact that it happened remains. It's a similar idea to prisoners released from jail being called ex-convicts. The label ensures their past remains on their sleeve. Furthermore, one notable thing about the pamphlet Common Sense was how comprehensible it was. As Thomas Paine states in the beginning, the pamphlet will list out nothing more than simple facts, plain arguments, and common sense. Usually, works from back then were eloquently worded, so not everyone would be able to comprehend the text fully. Modern day students may have trouble understanding the author's work because certain words are used or outdated. I mean, that's what footnotes are for, but who reads those? Even today, readers can clearly understand Paine's prose, making it a timeless work. In addition, it is also applicable to nations that seek to declare independence. Paine predicted this would happen as he states, "The cause of America is in great measure the cause of all mankind. Many circumstances have, and will arise, which are not local, but universal, and through which the principles of all lovers of mankind are affected." Paine believes that mankind has a right to freedom, and oppression denies this right. This idea stems from his belief in equality. Likewise, Paine's call for independence is reflected in other nations. For instance, the Haitian Revolution resulted in their independence from France in 1804, becoming the first country to be founded by former slaves. The revolution would then help build a stepping stone to the American Civil War, but that's a tale for another time. More recently, the Russia-Ukraine war is an example of fighting to maintain independence. Russia's goal is to stop Ukraine from joining NATO, as Russia seeks to control surrounding countries. Ukraine's joining of NATO means Russia would lose some of its influence. It's important to highlight Paine's essential role in getting Americans to support a rebellion against Britain. Hence, it is no surprise that the musical play Hamilton, which gives a great overview of the American Revolution through the lens of Alexander Hamilton, mentions him. In the song The Schuyler Sisters, Angelica sings,
I've been reading Common Sense by Thomas Paine. So men say that I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution, I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And when I meet Thomas Jefferson, I will compel him to include women in the sequel. Right!
"Ooh, I love Hamilton, entertaining and educational." The Schuyler Sisters itself is an ode to feminism and an increased emphasis on intellectual pursuits. Despite Paine's huge impact on American literature, he is not listed among the Founding Fathers. Perhaps it is because he was not an attendee of the Constitutional Convention. Or maybe he's the American literature equivalent of a one-hit wonder. The majority of people believe there are 7 main Founding Fathers: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison. Oh, and Benjamin Franklin, I almost forgot him. Yet, without Thomas Paine's persuasive pamphlet, Americans would not have been widely on board with the American Revolution. Sure, many knew they were being mistreated, but they were hesitant to launch a rebellion. As Walt Whitman put it rather eloquently, "I dare not say how much of what our Union is owing and enjoying today, its independence, its ardent belief in, and substantial practice of, radical human rights, and the severance of its government from all ecclesiastical and superstitious dominion. I dare not say how much of all this is owing to Thomas Paine, but I am inclined to think a good portion of it decidedly is." Oh, that was a mouthful. I wish they used more periods back then. Without Thomas Paine, it's very possible America would still be a British territory. Just think. How different would America be? How different would the world be? Something to think about. With all said, this concludes episode 1 of the LLL podcast. Hopefully you stayed engaged until now, as I know social media has ruined your attention spans. Yes, you. This has been your host, Lauren Davis. And as promised, I will reveal what the 3 L's stand for. Love, live, and learn. The 3 principles I strive to live by. Now, remember, have common sense. Bye.